I did some mock interviews and evaluation with those Google people. And what I discovered is that they are out of practice in terms of how to tell the stories. Because you cannot go out for interview to say, I'm a product manager at Google, Google, hire me now. Doesn't work though, because the other people are like, I'm also laid off from Meta. I'm also laid off from Amazon. And also, so you can't sell Google anymore.
Welcome to the Product Weekend podcast with Brito, Moita, and Tojal. We hope you enjoy.
Hello there. Welcome to episode number 3 of the Product Weekend podcast. This time with me, Tojal, and Tojal and Brito. In this episode, we talked with Dr.Nancy Li. With over 30,000 followers between LinkedIn and YouTube, she's taken the PM world by storm with her very specific and powerful advices when it comes to landing a PM job. On this conversation, we talked about how the PM job market is behaving right now. We discussed how to get into product management coming from other fields, resume optimization, product portfolio, how to get back to searching for a new position after a long time, and of course, we could not resist asking how AI is impacting job hunting at the moment. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave us a rating on your favorite podcast app and share the episode with your network, as that will make you look good. Point number 1 and most important, but also help us grow and bring you even more interesting conversations with great guests. So now, let's get this show on the road with Dr. Nancy Li. Enjoy. Dr. Nancy, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, Tojal and Rui.
Perfect. Hi.
Who is here as well with us, exactly. So our sidekick for the episode. So we always like to start easy. So I'm going to ask you a very easy question to start with. So what is kind of a great weekend that you had recently?
Oh, the great weekend is actually taking my son, his 2-year-old, to the park. We had the dragon show. He had the greatest time ever, which makes me very happy as well.
Wow. Okay. That sounds really lovely. So time with the kids is always good. I also have a small daughter, so I can relate. So can you give us a brief introduction about your background, how you got here, so we can better understand your path?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Dr. Nancy Li. I'm a director of product and featured in Forbes. I've helped hundreds of people land a dream PM job offer in FAANG companies and unicorn startup and continue to get promoted as a product leader. And I have my own company called PM Accelerator, which specializes in end-to-end coaching to help people to grow their career. And however, I started my career actually with only $800 in my pocket as an immigrant who moved to the US to pursue my American education. And then a few years later, I became one of the youngest engineering PhD. And then I continued to start my career journey as an engineer, then become a product manager and became a director of product in 4 years. Later on, I discovered a very challenging and also sad truth is that a lot of people like me are not on the decision-making table. Lots of people are underserved, like me, come from very poor background or didn't go to Harvard, get a computer science degree. We felt like the future wasn't very bright, especially very hard to join those FAANG companies. But I was able to break the glass ceilings and became a director of product within 4 years. That's why I started my side project with PM Accelerator and just on the side, teaching people when I was a director, and gradually it turned out to be my full-time job after I had my baby. So I'm coaching full-time, helping people achieve their career goal as well.
Okay. So we're going to get an idea of what's your motivation behind it. Going straight into kind of what's the PM job market right now. Because I've seen that you've mentioned many times that the field is becoming more competitive. But interestingly enough, just today I got an email from you saying, and I'll quote this because it was interesting. So Microsoft, Google, Netflix, and Meta, they're all hiring now. Having delayed their hiring season, Q4 is going to be crazy, and already I see hundreds of product-related jobs being advertised. So what is going on? What changed? Why was it so competitive? And now we're seeing these companies hiring again. So can you give us an idea of what's going on really in the market?
Yes, you're right. And actually, the season we're seeing right now is that the companies start to shift when they hire, how to hire, and who do we want to hire. And for example, as we're speaking right now, actually Q4 is a primary recruiting season. Used to be Q3. For example, last year, an Apple, Meta, they all start hiring their APM, RPM program in August, beginning of August, like August 8th. And then they close application by the end of August and start interviewing by September. And right now, both companies, they start to open application in October 2nd, October 16th, very late into the season, but only have 5 days for any candidate to apply for those jobs. Yeah. So it's just like 5 days sending applications. And the most interesting part about Meta job application, there's a field that any kind of URL you want to put in here. For example, could be your product portfolio, could be your LinkedIn, could also be your GitHub link. We can review all of those, but it's optional. If you put it at the first page of your application, which means that they encourage you to send in those links. So if you have your product portfolio, you need to have your resume ready, everything ready, also have your product portfolio ready within a week. That's very challenging. So nowadays, the timing changed. The requirement has been higher. They make it optional, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So you want to be competitive, you better do it. And also, the number of different kind of jobs out there is also very different. From entry level, the example I gave you was entry level. Nowadays, even senior level, for example, if you go to Meta right now, they are hiring like crazy. Literally on the website, if you search product management, there are over 688 different kind of like product management related jobs on Meta's website right now, pages of pages.
Wow.
So as it all shifted to Q4, I also have some students currently working for Microsoft. And I asked, hey, is Microsoft hiring? What's going on? They said, hey, we made decision. We're going to open the hiring racks by Q4, which is where we're speaking right now. So all companies just shifted. And of course, the bar is also higher because it's very competitive nowadays in the job market.
Okay. For example, Nancy, and sorry, just one quick side question. What do you think when you have a cover letter, like, oh, if you want, you can put your cover letter over here, but it's optional, but it's on the first page. What do you think of that?
It means that it's encouraged to show more about your skill set before you even applying for this job. And it's optional was because not everyone has a product portfolio. If you make it as a requirement, how can you finish your product portfolio and resume everything within a week, right? It's going crazy. People don't sleep. So make it optional. So they put on page 1, which means you're invited to do it. If you want to do it or not do it, I leave it to you. Wink, wink.
Exactly.
That's what it meant.
Okay, very well. So what's your tip when, for example, someone that already has countless applications for Q1, Q3, Q2 as well, now that you are entering Q4 and you're saying like the boom is now, but those applications without interviews, what's like your top advice for those stay resilient in this job search?
Yeah, a very good question. So the people who are left behind from Q1, Q2, even Q3, and still had no job until Q4, the most important advice I have for them is depends on the years of experience and also the reason, the target. For example, if you are senior product managers, you were laid off in earlier this year, Q1, Q2, maybe some of them Q4, you still have no job like right now, which means that it's less about your years of experience. It's more about, do you know how to package your story? Do you know how to answer interview questions better? Do you also know how to target at the right level? For example, I have people who literally, it's very interesting, manager of a consulting company and want to be a director of product of that. Why are you qualified for director of product in a tech company? It's like, I managed other people before. I was like, yeah, that was in consulting industry, right? Different. We also have people have different leveling. For example, people from Google. True fact, 40% of Google layoff PMs wasn't able to land a job in 6 months because I was invited to speak to those Google layoff PM groups. They have like private groups. I was invited talking to them. I have a student who is unfortunately was laid off, but he landed a job through our coaching. Landed a job within 3 months, no problem. But it still was like my coworkers, 60% of them still have no job after half a year. And then I did some mock interviews and evaluation with those Google people. And what I discovered is that they are out of practice in terms of how to tell the stories. Because you cannot go out for interview to say, I'm a product manager at Google, Google, hire me now. Doesn't work though, because the other people I'm also laid off from Meta. I'm also laid off from Amazon. And also, so you can't sell Google anymore. So now the next question people ask you will be, so like, Rui, you work for Google for 5 years. Tell me more. What did you do? So those kind of questions is typical, right? So what did you do? You cannot say something simple. I wrote requirement. I led a big team. You say something very impressive. Now, because you work for Google, they expect something even more impressive compared with other people, right? Cannot just be a random startup. You for Google, I expect to hear I launched like Google TensorFlow with 100 million revenue in a year. They want to hear something like this. So therefore, having a Google logo behind you may not help you, might hurt you. So it's a combination of your experience, how you package yourself. Of course, you have no experience at all. You start looking for a job. Let's say fresh graduate. You have no experience at all. By Q4, still have a new job. It's likely you don't have a product portfolio, which you need to build and demonstrate your skills, and that you can do the job starting from day one.
Yeah, that's even when you already have a foot in the door, right? And you get an interview. But even before that, one of the things that also you mentioned a lot and you talk about is like the resume optimization, right? Even getting the resume ready and the use of keywords. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that and how important is that for a PM now trying to go into the market, and even people that have been PMs for a long time and now they have to come back to the market and maybe they don't even update their CV. So how important is that?
Oh yeah, the keywords on your resume is very critical. We like to suggest our students to put the resume into two different kind of sections. One is your achievement. The second is roles responsibilities. Your roles responsibilities should have the majority of the keywords based on the job description. However, we all know majority of the product manager jobs out there, they're looking for requirement documentation and doing customer interviews and roadmap, like working with engineer in the agile functions. And those are typical keywords you can put in the roles and responsibilities. And then in your achievement session, we want people to talk about the true achievement. As the example I gave, I worked for Google 5 years, leading to launching TensorFlow, leading $100 million in sales, or in many different ways describe your achievement. For senior product managers, resume I've seen on the market right now, lots of them, they'll say, oh, they know I'm a product manager. Let me just write all the achievement I have. They didn't talk about all the roles responsibilities they had. And for entry-level people out there, they haven't done too much product management. And then they even do not hit all the basic PM keywords like requirement roadmap either. So I encourage everybody to have the balance of achievement hitting all the keywords out there. The second thing about keywords, which I want everyone to pay close attention to, is the type of product I built in the past, how much is relevant to the new job. For example, if you apply for AI position, right, there's very hot jobs out there. AI product managers out there. The keywords on your resume should have something to do with AI. For example, my past job, when I applied for a director job, my very first product I launched was an AI-based solution, which to help cities to reduce car crashes using AI, specifically machine vision. So on my resume, I wrote this way. I said, launched the first in the industry that was AI-empowered smart city solutions to help cities reduce car crashes, But I highlight AI because I know AI is very hot. Yeah. So people need to catch certain different kind of keywords. If you're applying for AI PM, show more AI keywords as well. So there's lots of keywords optimization on your resume.
Yeah.
That seems good. And regarding that, we are talking about AI, another shift regarding AI. Does AI really giving like a pump when regarding the quality of the resumes, or are they all becoming the same?
Very good question. And actually, I experimented with Bard and chat GPT all the time, using AI to write resume and using AI to write cover letter. And using AI to write cover letter is a very smart idea. I cover this in the Product Insider, the other different kind of monthly subscription service we have. One can get it for free, by the way. You can check it out. One of the live training we did with them is actually use the chat GPT to write your cover letter. So that actually gives you advantage because saves you lots of time to say something related to the value of the company. However, you cannot just say, hey, write me a cover letter for a product manager job in Walmart.
Yeah.
And there are 3 steps goes into how to train ChatGPT to write in the style you have. That's why we recommend everybody to use my sample resume template as a step 1. So you actually upload my resume template saying, hey, make sure you do this kind of style, and then upload my cover letter template, then train ChatGPT to write based on the template, and then tell ChatGPT, tell me the top 5 value of Walmart, and then tell ChatGPT to pick maybe 1 or 2 of the top value to make customized, combined with my sample template, sample cover letter, and into a new cover letter. So there's many different steps.
Okay.
You need to train AI to write perfect cover letter, but it does get better, save you so much time. And people interested in downloading my resume template, cover letter, different thing, you can go to my website, drnancylyi.com, or directly just go to my YouTube channel, which will have more links for you to download any kind of template out there. So that's step number 1. But now when AI writes your resume, I don't think AI write resume well enough to the level I was looking for, because I believe AI is, the way you train AI is take general information on the internet and give an average output, what average people would be doing. But if you want to land those high-paying job offers, like Meta hiring lots of people, it literally have 600 jobs out there, but can you get it, right? So you must become the top 1% candidate. If AI can write average people's resume, which means your result is average, Meta do not hire average people out there. So therefore, I don't recommend using AI to write your resume, but you can definitely use AI to write your cover letter better. So it's a combination of both.
Yeah. Makes sense. And the template you're talking about is what you call the killer PM resume template. I've downloaded it as well. Can you give us a bit of a highlights? Why is it a killer PM resume template? Why is it so good?
Okay. The reason was good is that I have coached like almost 1,000 students out there. I've seen so many resumes out there. I also have interviewed hundreds of candidates when I was a director or group product manager, when I climb up the career ladder as well. By looking at all those resumes, and also we reverse engineer what the hiring managers is looking for. When I was a hiring manager, I was looking for this and this and this. And also how I communicate with recruiters. Basically, I would tell recruiters, I want people with this background, and recruiters basically just repeat the keywords I tell her to search on the interview resume database. So that's why when we reverse engineer, what will get you a result much better, much faster is to see what hiring manager is looking for, what recruiters looking for, which are all those important keywords I want people to highlight on the resume as often as possible.
Okay, no, that makes total sense. Actually, the reverse engineering, that's very thoughtful and very interesting. So we've been talking about PMs trying to progress in their careers, getting back into the market. But as we know, a lot of people transition into PM roles. And you're talking about, for example, being a general manager in a consulting company and then moving to a PM position. So I wanted to focus on that. So how can people that come from very different backgrounds highlight their achievements and their accomplishments on their resume so they can then get into a PM position? How would you help them in that sense?
Very good. Very great question. And first of all, I think there is a mindset shift. Based on data, you guys can Google online yourself. 91% of today's product managers, their first job is not PM. They all have a different title. They're engineers, they're artists, they study history, psychologists. Literally, there's so many different majors or engineers. Or business analysts, marketers, any possible background, they became a product manager. 91%. Only 9% of those lucky people who went to Stanford or Harvard and they studied the math Olympics in high school, the smartest person ever. And then Google bagging on the doors and join my company. Don't join Meta. Okay. So those are 9% of people out there. The first job is PM. The life is all set. The other 91% are average people like us. We didn't even know product management. Nobody taught me about product management. Google never recruit from my school to say, hey, join me. Join us. This got the bright future product management. Well, I did this something. Whatever. Like I was a systems engineer on oil rigs. I was working for Shell Oil for 3 years as the only woman in most meetings all the time on oil rigs. That's a crazy. Look at pictures of me on oil rigs, like jumpsuit, whatever. When the design jumpsuits are only designed for men, by the way, at the time. It's crazy. So average people like us understand, first of all, in your mindset, 91% people are average people, 91% people transition to PM. So everyone had the chance, had the shot. Number one, mindset shift. Second, how you actually do it is do the following. So assuming you have no PM experience, but you need to reflect on your past experience. Let's say I put them into two different customer segmentation, just like using product management jargon.
Yeah.
So one group is someone who already have some kind of work experience, but you transition to PM. Like your engineers, your data scientists, marketers. I even have CPA starting accounting, become PM. It's all a consultant, anything. You look at your past experience. Let's say you're engineer for 3 years like me. How much of past experience is related to product management? Because product management is a very end-to-end process from creating the idea, interviewing customers, that's front-end product management, and then working with engineer to develop the MVP prototype. And then you launch it, which work with sales marketing team, which means that majority of the professions today, you touch one part of product management end-to-end lifecycle. So which means that you just need to translate how much I've done in the past is related to product management lifecycle. For example, when I was an engineer, I worked for Shell Oil. My past responsibilities align in ideation and building MVPs and prototype. I never really launched a product. I'm not a sales marketing person either. I got a PhD in material science, very nerdy. But I know the phase 1, phase 2 very well. I actually have touched on phase 1, phase 2. But I never had product management training. I never knew, when I work on system architecture design, that's very similar to what product managers is doing when they discuss the high-level functional requirement with engineering team. When I wrote technical requirement, what the oil rigs need to do, wow, this is very similar to engineering team writing, the product managers writing the user stories to engineering team. So a lot of things, most of us have touched part of product management. We just need to get some training to understand what's product management, what's in real life, how exactly write requirement in the right way. Lots of, for example, some business analysts is crazy when they, especially consultant, business consultant, McKinsey consultant, when they write requirement just wasn't good enough or not to the standard of what real tech PM needs to be doing, right? They really need to relearn what the right way to write product management requirement so that that's exactly what I have done, but I wrote it in the wrong way, but now I learned it better so you can package better on your resume regarding you had experience writing requirements. You had experience doing voice of customer interview. And same thing as people with marketing background, you spend more time talking about go-to-market strategy, product strategy, align vision, value proposition of your customers all together.
Okay. It's interesting. Actually, a question that came to my mind when you were talking is, do you think that someone that has a technical background, for example, is as an engineer, IT engineer, do you think that's an advantage or as a disadvantage? Because in the sense of maybe you're going to try to go and tell the engineers how to do stuff. So do you think it's better to have that knowledge or not? Someone maybe come from sales or marketing that doesn't have that knowledge will do better. Do you have an opinion on that, or do you think it doesn't matter, it varies?
I think it's a good question because I came from engineering background before, so I would say it has advantage, but it's a double-edged sword. I came from engineering background. I have to say it has advantage in terms of communicating with engineers, for sure.
Okay.
But it's double-edged sword because a lot of time you're too technical. I had lots of students who came from engineering background. When they answer questions, tell me a time when you turn a product from concept to execution. Or tell me a time when you work with a group of engineers to launch or design any new product, right? This typical interview questions. But for someone from very technical background like me with like PhD, it's likely when we answer questions, we go really deep, really like, I'm afraid people do not understand what is like different like polymers, very technical like containers working for AWS, very technical details. You literally went into technical details. Like most of my students, the mistakes they made, they just need to retrain their brain. Do not go into any technical details, but dump it down that any people with marketing background can understand what do they mean by launching any cloud product. So it's a double-edged sword. If you don't know how to use the sword well enough, it's going to turn into your disadvantage as well. So question to you guys, are you guys from business background or engineering background, Tojal and Rui?
So
Engineering
I'm from a business
myself.
background and
Yeah,
Rui engineering.
business.
Yeah.
I see. So
we
do
have
you
different
guys
views.
think is advantage or disadvantage?
I'll go first.
Right now I'm kind of already a mix. So I have a lot more business background, but I did a full stack programming degree. So I got that technical knowledge. So at the moment, it's hard for me to say because I'm going to have a mixture, but I agree with you that sometimes people that come from engineering backgrounds, they go too deep on the technical and maybe they want things very correct. There's a very specific correct answer. And I think when you're in business, you're more open to, there's many options, many correct answers. That's my view. I don't know. What about you, Rui? What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with that because actually in my reality, I see across, I come from mechanical engineering and I see sometimes what's most difficult, the communication part and regarding product manager. If you are not able to actually express, that's a trouble, at least in my opinion, because you will need to deal with lots of different people trying to express themselves that have some troubles doing that. And if you are +1 trouble, man, that will be a nightmare there. So actually, I do think like business, at least from my experience, does help a lot. Yeah, it does help a lot. They have a little bit of advantage because then they can do like Tojal did and do a deep dive in some of the engineering topics. But learning the part of like most of the soft skills, that's harder in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But now the interesting part is, guess what? Because I taught lots of students out there from many different, including our background. So I'm literally like doing photography, like film, like the film assistant film director, So those people, they came from like business or our background. They're better communicating with other people. They're so afraid saying, Nancy, I don't know how to code. What should I do? I say, you don't need to know how to code. You just need to learn what is system design. You understand how to talk about it, ask smart questions, da 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 da. So people really amplify that disadvantage, but they didn't look into the strengths. So I recommend everyone to see things from a different angle, regardless your business background, technical background, because everybody will come from one of these backgrounds anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense. And it's one of those questions, right? Should you improve your weaknesses or just go all in on your strengths, right? It's always that dichotomy. So what you do? So it makes total sense. Okay, so now I wanted to go back to something that we were talking about before, about the resumes. So you've been talking about how people with experience should write their resume. What about people that have no experience? How should they do it?
Great question. Yeah, we actually have a different methodology for people with zero experience, such as people fresh out of college. People ask, hey, Nancy, someone was a engineer like you can write part about what you did in the past, read to the PM, but have zero experience, fresh out of school. What should I do, right? So for those group of people, I recommend them to build a product portfolio. That's where it's very critical, very important. Even senior PM, I ask my student to build a product portfolio, but we write it in different style. We can discuss it in depth later on. But for people with no experience, the best way to do it is, for example, you should build a product portfolio and which demonstrate your related experience. Product portfolio is even better. You can see this as a startup. You can do a hackathon during the weekend and turn it into a product, and someone do the capstone project at school that can turn into product portfolio. And all those can turn into product management experience. Of course, You must learn product management upfront, knowing what it look like, what's supposed to do, and then your product portfolio will look perfect, and then you can write your experience running this project, running the startup, and turn it into a experience session on your resume for people with zero experience at all. So those are something people need to start working on right away, even if currently they're still in college.
Yeah. And what would be the kind of the mistakes that people should avoid when they're building their portfolio?
Great question. Very good question. We put portfolio into different types, 2 types of portfolio. The number one type of portfolio is for people who doesn't have experience, as I said earlier. Or people, let's say you have, even I was an engineer, transition to PM, I still build a product portfolio because you need to turn your engineering experience related to product, right? So this is for people to break into PM with or without experience. The typical mistake for this group of people is that they thought they know how to write requirements. Once they start writing requirement, it doesn't look good. I literally had someone reach out to me on YouTube, just DM me and saying, hey, Nancy, my manager put me on performance improvement plan. They asked me to improve my product requirement writing skills in 2 weeks. If not, I'm in big trouble. So the reason was lots of people just, writing requirement, I know, like write requirement for Twitter. Okay, so you no longer X, now it's called X. Writing requirement for X. Well, we have a like button. You'll be able to like and share, be able to tag somebody. It's not how you write it in the right way. Well, our product manager, we know it, right? So people just feel like they're like smart. Just let me write some features, whatever engineers will follow and do. No, I literally just filmed a YouTube video yesterday regarding one of the reason people shouldn't be a product manager was people who didn't know how to deal with engineering team. Because if you write really bad requirements like that, just I have a share button, follow button, engineering team will be like, why we do this? How exactly you want me to design the share function? Share with who? How many links? Generating links? They're like 1 click, 2 clicks, like what color, what shade of blue, deeper blue, dark. They're going to ask you really deep questions, right? So lots of people, I don't know, it's either their ambition feel like they know a lot or they didn't know they don't know. Maybe it's unknowns. When they build product portfolio, lots of people, I have those sessions of requirement like, oh gosh, it's really bad. Also, I have those sessions regarding the roadmap. Take a look at my roadmap. I was like, oh gosh, it's really bad. So it's a quality. It literally is a quality. For experienced PM, let's say like us, for example, when I go back to like workforce after my son is bigger, probably going to apply for directors in those tier 1 companies again, myself. And so my product portfolio will highlight something different, which is more focused on accomplishment, achievement, any kind of public news about any impact my product had. So people really need to think about how you create product portfolio, what kind of product portfolio you should create. So avoid those like mistakes I mentioned earlier.
Makes total sense. And one of the things you've been mentioning is, and you mentioned before, is how hard it is to get into this field. And there's not a lot of people that actually start as a PM. For people that are doing the transition, we know that networking is like a key factor, right? Leveraging your network. How did you do that? How did you use your network when you're trying to transition into product management?
Great question. I believe networking is the number one thing everyone needs to start working on right now, even if you have no experience or have some experience or you're laid off, anything you do. Actually, when I was applying for my very first product manager job, I didn't apply for jobs online at all. I mainly leveraged networking. I do not apply for any jobs unless I have a referral into those companies. So this is my personal style. And right now I teach my students, you can do combination of applying for jobs online, just expect success rate is only 1% because the numbers game. The rest is use a networking strategies to open more doors for yourself. Because right now it's just too competitive. So many people, they already have PM experience, or some people want to transition. Those 91% we mentioned earlier, they want to transition into PM. It's competitive. It's like crazy. So the most effective way to do networking is actually to pitch yourself. Let me give you some specific examples. And for example, I have many students just review their pitch. And when you go to LinkedIn, the first message you write to other people, there's only 300 characters that you can write to other people. Those 300 characters is very critical. You really need to highlight yourself. And for example, when I apply for director jobs, and first of all, I search who might be the hiring manager or recruiters, whoever have connections out there. I'm going to pitch myself. I will say the following. That's assume at the time I was group product manager in Verizon, apply for director jobs. That was like 3 years ago before I was a director. So I said the following. I would say, hey, let's say you're the hiring manager. I will say you're the VP of product. I'll say, hey, Tojal, this is Dr. Nancy Li. I have 8 years experience launching, developing technology product. I was also featured in Forbes. I launched the first 5G edge computing product in the world in collaboration with AWS and Amazon. I also launched another AI-empowered smart cities product that leading to $200 million in PPP deals with government. I believe I'm the top 1% candidate. I love to connect and discuss my candidacy. So, would you say yes to this invitation?
No, I'll say yes to the rest. That's a very strong pitch. Very strong.
Right? So people need to pitch themselves. With your impact, with your product, I only launched 2 products before I became a director. And I was always the youngest director. I got promoted twice within 4 years and became director. Even when I was a group product manager, I managed people 20 years older than me, different race, different gender, very different from me. It's crazy. So therefore, it's the whole career of everybody who grows their career. It's not about just when you look for a job, you start to pitch yourself through networking strategy. You can use the whole strategy to grow your career much faster as well to build your personal brand. So just make sure everyone can write a very compelling pitch within 300 characters. Everyone can do it. We help our students do this all the time. Everyone should go to my YouTube channel where I teach you how to pitch yourself within 30 seconds. We should answer, tell me about yourself in 30 seconds, or we should do it. That's the magic of networking. So once people accept your invitation, you can write a longer pitch, send them your product portfolio, even different things. Yeah, I even encourage some of my students, you can send your product portfolio in the first 300 characters as well. If there's a space you can fit. There are many different ways to pitch yourself, but the key to networking is to differentiate yourself from other people to show that you're the next Steve Jobs. I know I have no experience. I'm entry level. I'm young, but I'm the next Steve Jobs. Can you tell through this and this, the past experience I had? I'm the next Steve Jobs. You need to hire me now. Or I'm going to hire you 10 years later.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the mindset behind writing a very strong pitch using a networking strategy.
And imagine that you are in a conference, for example. Well, actually, I don't know when this goes on air, but last week, you and Tojal were in Productize, the biggest conference in Portugal regarding product management.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of people were there, like directors from everywhere. But imagine that you are an introvert. What are your tips for someone that's really introvert to go there and kind of pitch themselves in those 30 seconds of magic?
Oh, great question. Great question. First of all, again, it's a mindset shift. I actually talked to another student 2 days ago. She said, Nancy, I don't think I become a PM. I said, why? I'm an introvert. I was like, do you know that half of the people in the world are introvert? Are you saying that all PMs are extrovert? No, of course not. I would imagine, most salespeople are extroverted, but PM has both introverted and extroverted because they have different kind of strengths. PM is right in the middle. We have amazing product manager. They are introverted and people they're extroverted as a product manager for sure. So now through networking strategies during conferences, if you're extremely introverted, the way to do it is you listen first, then you ask a very smart question. You may not feel comfortable immediately going up there to pitch myself, but you can pitch yourself and leave a really great impression by asking very smart question. For example, a student of mine, he's also introverted. He's also immigrant. He's Korean, moved to the US. And just like me, I moved from China to the US. When he went out for networking, he literally got a phone call. He was able to say something and land a phone call with director of product at Google. The way he did it was He basically met the Google guy who was giving a speech at one of those social events. Same thing. And then over there, he asked a very smart question to leave a really great impression. I think the question is about like Google's vision about AI, how it's competing with NVIDIA AI, like something towards that direction. So it's like basically once you heard the question, it's a really smart question, right? So introverted people, they spend more time thinking. They spend more time listening. They spend more time digesting the information, which means that they have more time to create amazing, smart questions. So what you need to do if you're introverted in the conference, you can look up people's background, listening to those people's talk, and then think about really smart questions. You go up, they introduce yourself, saying, hey, I am Dr. Nancy Li. And then whatever highlight about yourself. I'm a senior product manager at ABCD company. You can just make it simple. Okay. And then immediately switch to your smart question. You say, I listened to your talk just now about ABCD things. I do have a question for you. Like it's very smart questions. How is Google going to compete with NVIDIA in the space of this, given your TensorFlow is already kind of third place in the market? How would you have such a big gap to catch up in the company? Why something like that, right? If you talk to someone from Meta, it was like, well, what's Meta next strategy to really take over TikTok? Nobody's using Facebook anymore. Instagram is losing to TikTok. What's something unique we'll be doing immediately so that we can regain our first position in the social media space? Right? This kind of questions nobody can answer.
Yeah.
Which is the holy crap. Who asked those kind of questions?
Exactly.
This person. Oh, her name is Dr. Nancy Li. Okay, fine.
I want to know more.
Yeah. And then you get the contact information. Then you can write a longer email follow up to, hey, I asked you the question in the conference. Do you remember me? Of course they remember you. Ask a question nobody can answer. And then you ask even harder questions or like continuous conversation and then ask for a call for career advice. Make connection with a person. The best networking script is make personal connection. One of your script should have one small session talking about, oh, I have so much empathy. If someone network with me, for example, someone can say something like, whatever the hard questions they ask, you're introverted, like, don't say much about yourself, but you can ask more questions towards the end. You say little paragraphs to me to say, Nancy, I am very empowered by your nonprofit mission that on your website and also on your YouTube channel, you talk a lot about donating money to nonprofit, building your own nonprofit. I also support and donated to human sex trafficking, a nonprofit organization. As an example, to say, oh, I'm a big believer of giving back. You just need to you just say that part. Just basically saying that you and me have something in common, which is supporting nonprofit. I literally donate lots of money to different education nonprofit. Also, last year we supported human sex trafficking, those kind of like organization to really save lots of girls. If anyone pick up those kind of key things, regarding what they say before that, is, oh gosh, you really know what I really deeply care about. I will say, yeah. How can I help you? I need a job. Okay, cool. That's a key of networking.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And I think that's, as you said, there's so many people that create that image of being an introvert that they can give the next step. And you just explain exactly how to do it. So that was perfect. I just wanted to pick up on something that we were talking about before. You already alluded to it, but I just wanted to pick it up again. If someone is new to the field, they have no experience, what do you suggest? Should they go and do, and they want to build a portfolio, should they go into volunteering, side projects, or are there avenues that you usually suggest?
Okay, great. Number one thing I suggest everyone to do is for people with no experience in product management, you should immediately build your product portfolio. Do some volunteering work, helping with the startup, even do it for free. So because people will test your product sense. Are you good at this? Are you good at that? Do you really know how to build a product? People say it. You ask any random people any question, design a kitchen, right? Typical interview question. I literally have people come to my free mock interview on my YouTube channel. I just ask this question. And then that guy was like, what kind of teacher you want to design, Nancy? What kind of cuisine? You know? I was like,
Yeah.
I need. And I was like, oh, cool. How often do you want to cook? They literally make like interior designer. I was like, you're not a product manager. I'm sorry. So people should really form those product empathy, customer empathy, knowing what's a real life, how to solve problem for customers. So the best way is really either helping startup for free, just start doing something in any shape or form. That's the best way to get started, building your confidence. Of course, I really encourage everyone need to learn it. You cannot just fake it until you make it. As I mentioned earlier, people listen message me on YouTube, like getting fired within 2 weeks. You should definitely improve yourself. I don't believe people can literally improve yourself within 2 weeks that fast. Well, someone could, good. You're smart. You go to Harvard, right? You can do it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of too late. Your manager pointed out multiple times saying that you're really bad. So learn it was the right way. And then do some side project and build your product portfolio. And that's the best way to break in. Of course, in our PM Accelerator, we accelerate the whole process. We teach you how to interview, how to teach you everything. Like it's more at faster pace, but people can literally just do it, start doing.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And I like that you called it out. You can't fake it until you make it. People like to say that a lot, but it's at the end of the day, you have to learn it, right? There's no easy way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's American term, fake it until you make it. In Europe, you guys are European, right? In Europe, you guys have this term. They don't have this thing doesn't exist in Chinese language. There's no translation. Fake it until you make it.
No, I don't think we have it in Portuguese either. It's just something that came from the US. Yeah. We just adopted it at some point, but I'm with you.
We are not in a lot. We are not in a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only heard it in American culture, faking that you make it. I was like, holy crap, get fired. People literally get fired doing this. Who just like the American way of things are different. Even though I immigrated to US, get my own green card, 11 years for me to get my own green card. Say crazy. It's crazy, by the way.
Wow.
But that doesn't mean that I agree with all the American terms and culture, especially faking it. You better learn it before you make it. This is only special to American culture. I still quite confused. But well, just it's their way. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. So now I wanted to go to a different segment. I hope you're ready. So we call this the sprint questions. So it's simple answer for simple questions. So nothing you have to think about too much. So what would be one digital product that you would struggle to live without?
Waze,
Waze. Oh, good answer.
the map,
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
navigation. I get lost.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's perfect. And what do you think is the most underrated skill in product management?
I believe is exactly presentation skills. Most people don't talk about it. Most people thought, oh, I need to be a leader, director, and do executive presentation. No. Even when I was a PhD student, literally spoke broken English when I just immigrated to the US. Literally have no money. Nobody was helping me. No friends, no connection, no network. Didn't even know how to network. Didn't have a LinkedIn account. I knew that presentation skills is very critical. So people need to master executive presentation skills earlier in their career, and people don't talk about it. That's why lots of people are product manager for 10 years, 20 years, and never get promoted to become a director. So you need to use the skills, not just for promotion purposes of serve you everywhere. You get buy-in from your engineering team, sales marketing team. You can do many great stuff if you master the skills earlier in your career.
No, that sounds really good. And I agree with you 100%. So one last one. If you could shadow any product manager or leader for a day, who would it be?
Elon Musk.
There you go.
I think he's a crazy, wild man, but very interesting.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I got his book here as well. I haven't got the last one that came out recently, right? Have you read that one? It just came out, I think, some weeks ago or September or something. New biography from him.
Oh, biography. Yeah. I bought one. I bought a copy where we're in the intro a few chapters, and I highly recommend everyone to read it. Yes, we had a copy in our home.
There you go. I need to get it. So now into our release notes.
Let's go for it. So basically, well, we have a lot to recap, but some of the highlights that these non-AI cuts are about. Market is coming hot again. So get ready with your resumes, your product portfolios, sharpen the pencil because the market is really getting hot. And for you that are out of the playground for long, you need to practice. You can just sell your brand, sell the brand. You have to sell your brand and sell the package of yourself. If you want to practice and if you want to better sell yourself, you have to balance keywords on your resume. That is critical. So balance between role and responsibility with some keywords, for example, as agile, roadmap, and as well some of your achievements. But don't get too excited over your achievements. Also, don't get too excited over the roles and responsibilities. Best in the middle. Use AI to write cover letter is a really smart idea. Don't get too used to that and don't use it for the resumes, at least if you want to go for the 1% ones. Finally, well, not finally, we still have a lot, but then based on data, you know that 91% of product managers, the first job is not PM. So this is a really good one. And that is leading to the next one. You need to translate how much you did of what you did before really translate into the product management lifecycle. And as you know, since it's an end-to-end career, you really have a lot, and your career must be something in the middle before. So you have a lot you can sell yourself. It's not only sell, it's also for you to better believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So if you don't have, you really have to build your product portfolio, especially if you are trying to break into PM. And some typical mistakes is saying that you know how to write requirements. Don't take that for granted. And please learn how to write them for the dev team. Don't be too picky on you on your first weeks. Also, if you are a lot of introvert, I'm almost ending, but this was a lot of information. So networking is number one thing for people that need to start working and people need to start working right now. Was LinkedIn, the 300 characters that you have over there, that can be magic for you. Use them wisely. And you have to have a mindset shift. So introverts can also have their place near the sun. So what you need to do is listen first and ask a really smart question. This is a really good trick. And if you try to apply it, I'm sure don't need to fake until you make it. Presentation skills, those two are lacking in the PMs, and you really need to master them if you want to proceed in a quicker way. Nancy, thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Those amazing summary. I can't summarize so fast like you. This is amazing.
No, that was really good. And that just shows we have an amazing episode. I hope it's going to be very helpful for everyone. I just have two more questions for you. So where can people find you? Or I've been saying you have a lot of places where people can find you, but what is the best place? And how should people get in touch with you if they want to?
Great question. People can find me on YouTube. Just search Dr.Nancy Li. Li spelled as L-I, not L-E, L-I, Dr.Nancy Li.
Yep.
Director of Product. You can find me on YouTube and also LinkedIn. Search Dr.Nancy Li, L-I, and then you can DM me over there. And of course, our website is pmaccelerator.io. You can find more information over there. But feel free to DM me on both social channels, YouTube and LinkedIn, and search Dr.Nancy Li, Director of Product.
There you go. Perfect. So, well, I guess this is it. Thank you so much for this conversation. I hope you had fun as we did.
Yeah, of course. I love this. The 1 hour flew by very quickly. I love this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rui, as well. See you.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you for listening to the Product Weekend podcast. If you want to check all other episodes, head on to our website or YouTube channel, and please follow us on LinkedIn to stay up to date on future Product Weekend events and the Product Weekend podcast. Also consider sending this episode to that friend who could really benefit from this content. I'm sure you can think of at least one. On the next episode, we'll have Randy Silver. Yep, that's right. This time it's Randy on the hot seat. You don't want to miss that. For now, this is Tojal signing off. Just one last thing. Remember, the weekend's over, but your product journey is just getting started.